So, today we are going to be presenting ACL tears. We are going to be going over how they happen, why they happen, who is usually the most effective, recovery time, and some other fun facts as well about ACL tears. Not that it's some fun subject, but we thought we could go ahead and throw in some stuff people don't know or wouldn't assume that are associated with ACL tears.
So in sports, you always hear about an ACL tear. What is an ACL? So what the ACL is, it is the anterior cruciate ligament. And to know what a ligament is, it is a fibrous connective tissue that connects bone to bone. And the ACL specifically, it originates from the femur, which is the thigh bone, and inserts into the tibia, which is one of the two lower long bones, also known as your shin. And its specific role or responsibility is to stabilize the joint during movement. And it is located deep within the knee in the anterior portion, meaning the front. And it runs diagonally across the knee, crossing over the PCL, which is your posterior cruciate ligament. And it's called cruciate because it forms a cross. The ACL, though, primarily is responsible for preventing the tibia from shifting forward or sliding too far forward in relation to the femur. And it provides stability to the knee during activities that involve sudden stops, changes in direction, jumping, or any type of athletic movement. And it makes it really crucial for sports or daily activities that require swift and coordinated movement. So any injury to the ACL um, can lead to instability or um, significantly affect one's ability to walk or perform physical tasks. And often this requires a medical intervention for recovery, depending if it's a sprain or a rupture or a complete tear. This could indicate a need for surgery or even months of rehabilitation.
All right. You ACL, and you're wondering what happens next. Let me tell you. First, I'm sorry to say that ligament's never going to be repaired on its own. I'm sorry. I know. But there are ways we can treat it. First, there's a non-surgical route, and then there's a surgical route. Let me tell you a little bit about the non-surgical route. Because that ligament's never going to be repaired on its own, there's going to be a lot of instability in the knee. So it's recommended you wear some sort of knee brace, strengthen the muscles around the knee, just to provides better support and stability in the knee. It's not really recommended if you're younger or you're active, just because one little wrong movement can cause other issues or damages to the knee. It's more recommended if you're older, not really active, just because that, like I said, that ligament's never going to be repaired. Now, the surgical route, what that looks like is, and they remove the damaged ligament using surgery and they replace it with, let me kind of show you, something called an ACL graft. Now, this ACL graft acts as your new ACL. They take it from another part of your body. It can be from your hamstring, it can be from your quad, it can even be from somebody else. But what they take this graft, they place it in place where that old ACL was, and that's going to act as your new ACL. They screw it on there, fix you back up, and this unfortunately is a very lengthy recovery process. Now, research conducted by Yale and his team explains why it takes so long. First, the biological healing is super slow. In the beginning stages, there's very little blood supply in the area, and the tissue takes a very long time to heal. At the beginning, it's a very incomplete ligament, so it takes time to kind of very get that ACL-like structure from this graft. Ideally, at the end, you want to have that full ACL-like structure and you want it to be stable so it can function properly. they kind of found ways that you can improve the recovery. There is bone healing therapy. There is try to get better blood flow into the area to kind of help promote better healing, anti-inflammatory strategies, because excessive inflammation can weaken that graft. So our goal is to try to minimize that. Um, Physical therapy can kind of help with this as well, so it doesn't get super inflamed. All this kind of helps promote safe healing. I said it's a very long process, but I promise you, it's a long road ahead, but we'll get there. It may not be pretty, but I promise we will get there. At the end, oftentimes it does remain incomplete, which is why it ranges from 6 to 12 months. Kind of just depends on how long it takes for that tissue to rebuild and get that graft stable.
So let's go ahead, let's talk about what are some of the most common populations that are affected by the ACL tears. Well, athletes usually do tear their ACLs a lot. However, it is not limited to them because, as we discussed before, our ACL is what helps us move our legs, right? This is one of the most crucial joints in all of our body. Our knee is one of the most crucial parts of our body, point blank, period. So athletes, specifically athletes cutting into a corner, trying to pivot or turn very fast, may just land wrong and tear their ACL. And that is very commonplace in a lot of athletes. You see a lot of athletes, for example, one of the more famous ones was Derrick Rose when he went for a dunk, brutal. And then you have something a little bit more in WWE, for example, athletes as well. They'll do a flip, for example, Seth Rollins, he recently did a backflip, tore his ACL. It was brutal. And a lot of this stuff happens because of the instability issues. You notice that a lot of these movements they're fast, they're explosive. So a lot of the times people don't have enough time to bound, stay place, and stabilize, causing that tear in the ligaments. And it's very sad, it's very unfortunate, but thanks to modern technology, modern medicine, ACL tears are pretty treatable. They're usually pretty. If you tear your ACL, you can usually recover from it and be back to where you were most of the time. It just depends on the tear with anything, right? With most things in life, it always depends on the circumstances. But usually, you are able to make a pretty good comeback from an ACL tear. It is important to remember these type of injuries are never planned, yet we can prevent them through proper mobility, stretching, and recovery work after our workouts. A lot of these people, I'm looking at you guys, go into the gym, skip your warm-up, and skip out your stretching. Now, I'm not wishing anything bad on you guys, but I'm just saying, we need to prepare a little bit better because in life, things don't always go to plan and we get injured, but it's not always doom and gloom. If anything, they're life lessons as to what we can do better next time and what we can improve on. Sometimes it sucks that that's our lesson that we need to learn, but the universe works in mysterious ways.